Good morning, everybody, and thank you for yesterday. For me, it was a great, inspiring day, and especially meeting all of you, having a lot of talks during the breaks, during the lunch, during the evening dinner, and beyond. So I'm really looking forward to another day with great discussions and new insights. Getting more Americans on the water and keep them fishing. That's also one of our core missions at FishBrain, especially in urban areas. My name is Jens. I'm the VP of Product and Partnerships at FishBrain. FishBrain is the #1 fishing app in the US with over 15 million registered users only in America. We help everyday users to find new places to fish, connect with like-minded anglers, and help them to improve so they learn from what they have done. This is very important to us too. We solve many challenges you are also solving every day on this to make the anglers come to the water and keep them fishing. And we are happy to help you to get that message out to engage anglers all over the US, because our app is US-wide. Thank you. Now, I'd like to introduce you to Rachel and Joanna, who will be hosting the next presentation of Take Me Fishing campaign updates and your second chance to use second catches. Rachel is the Senior Marketing Director, Consumer Marketing and Communications at RBFF with over 15 years of experience driving marketing initiatives among consumers and with you as stakeholders. Rachel is overseeing the national consumer brand strategies through RBFF's Take Me Fishing marketing and advertising campaigns. She has spent her entire career inspiring others to enjoy the benefits of fishing and boating. And then we have Joanna Martinick as well, the Senior Stakeholder Marketing and Communication Manager at RBFF, working with RBFF for over 10 years. She is currently the Stakeholder of Marketing and Communication Senior Manager. Joanna manages RBFF's communication and marketing and outdoor with all industry agencies partners. Let's make sure now we give them both a warm applause when entering the scene and doing their presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jens. I appreciate that intro. That was fantastic. As he mentioned, I'm Rachel. I'm with the RBFF team. I oversee all of our consumer efforts at RBFF. And admittedly, I am somebody for the workshop who, when Brittany had the little poll, I've lost count of RBFF workshops because I have been on the state side for a few years. I've also been on the RBFF side for a few years. So I feel like this is a pretty safe space to share that with you all. I have definitely lost count for the number of workshops I've attended. So shout out to the people who are also in the same boat as me, but also to the newcomers and everybody in between. You guys are what makes this workshop fantastic for us. We love sharing what we're doing, of course, on the Take Me Fishing side, but I think the real value is you all sharing what's worked and what hasn't, and navigating that together so we can get more anglers and boaters in our states and across the country. So today I will be kind of walking through what we're doing on the consumer campaign side. I only have a little bit of time. I could probably talk about this all morning, but feel free to come up afterwards, email me. Happy to talk about what we do kind of on the consumer side. So I'll share a little bit about that, and then I will turn it over to Joanne, who will talk about Second Catch, and that specifically is an animated short film that we created to support our Find Your Best Self campaign, and it tells the story of a girl growing up, fishing with her father, and it specifically leans into the stat that girls drop out of the sport of fishing at an 11% higher rate than boys. So we really want you all to take that stat, share it out, amplify it, and really help us close that gap that exists right now. I just kind of wanted to level set here a little bit. I know there's a lot of new people, seeing that poll from Brittany, there's a lot of new people here. This is their first workshop. So at RBFF, we essentially have two external facing arms. We have stakeholder engagement and we have consumer engagement. On the stakeholder engagement side, it's really focused on industry partners, federal partners like National Park Service, Fish and Wildlife Service, and then you all beautiful people here in the room, state engagement. So a lot of that is focused on the retention and reactivation of anglers and boaters, and I know you're sick of hearing the word churn, but it's really focused on that area, right, where we have people coming into the sports and activities, enjoying them, and then dropping out for whatever reason. So that's the stakeholder arm. I'm more on the consumer arm. So again, we're charged with increasing participation in boating and fishing through direct-to-consumer efforts. And we do that essentially through our national campaign to recruit new audiences to the sport. And again, the focus here is on newer audiences. It's audiences and groups of people that do not see themselves currently represented in both of the activities. And we do this through a huge national marketing campaign that we run each year, PR efforts, social media, influencer strategies, digital content, and website. After we get people interested in the activities, and we're building that awareness and that trial, they've come to our digital assets, they want to learn more. Two of our top types of content are where to and how to content. People want to know where to go, and they want to know what they need to get started for a day on the water. After they start familiarizing themselves with that, we send them off here to you all's websites and information to get more of that localized content. And we do that essentially all through our Take Me Fishing brand. So JD put this slide up here yesterday, but I kind of wanted to revisit it a little bit. We're seeing overall participation here steadily increasing. We do a national study with the Outdoor Foundation for fishing participation, and this is Americans ages 6 and up. If you take a look, about 2015, 2016 is really when we started to see that increase. We had the bump here for COVID, of course. You know, I feel like a lot of outdoor activities had that. We went down a little bit in 21, but it's still overall increasing from 2019. So we're at really high numbers here, and again, JD mentioned this yesterday, we could probably be over 70 million overall if we would just retain a lot of these people that are coming in. Now let's take a little closer look at female fishing participants. I kind of cut that slide before here to 2015 because I think it's really important here just to see that trajectory. Back in 2015, we had about 16 million women participating in the sport of fishing. Right now, we are up to 21.3 million, which is the highest we've seen ever. We really feel that female anglers are kind of that conduit to growth. They're the ones doing the activity planning. They are driving 70 to 80% of spending decisions, and they are the gateway to growth. They are the ones bringing other people along with them. I have a little bit of a cold, so please excuse me. I'm going to be drinking lots of water. There's a lot that we do that I could probably sit up here and talk to you about, but I think sometimes it's best just to show a video of everything that we've been up to. This is a little bit of a case study of what we're essentially battling up against society, against a lot of the screens that are out there and a lot of the screen time, and just really showing what, we have really fun activities that we're promoting, right? And I think sometimes it's easy to forget that, is bringing the fun back into these activities. So let's take a look here.
Across the globe, women are crushing it, showing up in record numbers in higher education and professional life. Yet, study after study shows there's still a crisis of confidence amongst women. Social media is damaging the mental health of women and girls. Anxiety and depression are hitting in record numbers. All this online noise is stripping away confidence. All the screens are taking a toll. Take Me Fishing was established to get people outside on the water. If looking at screens gets us down, maybe staring at a bobber can have the opposite effect. Working with Ipsos researchers, we conducted research on the power of fishing, and the results were profound. Women who fish have significantly more grit, patience, confidence, and perseverance. Women who fish find their best selves on the water. So we shouted it from the rooftops. We told the story of young women building confidence through fishing in a powerful video. And digital, social, and print drew attention to the life-changing benefits you can find when you drop a line. We we put a new face on women who fish by taking the office star Ellie Kemper fishing for the first time in Vanity Fair and showed her how to be even more unbreakable. We put fishing at the center of culture with the young and creative audiences of Hype Bay, and the female leaders of Forbes shared how fishing contributed to their success. We got conversations flying online with the release of our limited edition Fearless Fishing line and created fishing pop-ups that got rods in women's hands and butts in boats.
When I fish, it makes me feel relaxed.
I've had a larger sense of independence. Even if you don't catch anything, you just feel capable.
In a world filled with forces chipping away at the confidence of women, TakeMeFishing.org reminded women that fishing is about finding so much more than just fish.
All right, one more video. I promised the team I wouldn't put too many videos in here, but videos are always fun. This is our hero video for our Find Your Best Self on the Water campaign. Probably might not be new to some of you. You've probably seen it a little bit, but just a few notes before I play this, that this is a fully research-backed video. So we did some research, as you probably saw in that case study, with a research vendor called Ipsos, very well-known vendor. And what we found through that research essentially is, the women who fish have more perseverance, more grit, confidence, etc. We have put that into this video piece that you're just about to see, in addition to infusing that research into all of our campaign assets. We also tested all of these assets before we put them out in market. So you're kind of getting a double dose of, is this going to be effective? Is this going to work? What we found here is over 90% of men and women, we also tested this against men, and both anglers and non-anglers found this ad that you're about to see appealing and motivating, and they specifically like that it's showing that, highlighting that girls here are helping achieve their goals. Also, 66% of female and male non-anglers expressed that they're somewhat or very likely to try the activity of fishing after watching this. So while we are geared more towards a certain audience segment, we're having a little bit broader appeal in the spot here that we created.
And just like that, she starts to grin. A special flame's been lit within. The spark of something new begins. There's something in the water. On her own, she's in the zone. Determination can't be thrown. Resilience building in her bones. There's something in the water. With her gator on and her waders on, she can tackle anything till dawn. There must be something in the water. On and off the boat she flies. The sky's the limit, she's soaring high. She's a force of nature on the rise. There's something in the water.
I think one of my favorite parts of that, and it never gets old me watching it, is you have a split second of a fish at the end, and it's an ad about the activity of fishing, but you rarely see a fish in it, which I think is pretty fun. Wanted to share with you here kind of our Find Your Best Self campaign 5-year overview. We've committed to running this campaign to get more women out on the water over the next 5 years. So we are now moving into our 3rd year here in 2025. So just a reminder of our brand purpose, we believe the water is open to everybody. We would love to achieve gender parity in fishing and boating, which would help everyone and all of us achieve a 26% growth overall. Even if we can just get that to 10% growth, that's still $1 billion back to the industry. We did some work with Southwick Associates to find out that female anglers spend just shy of $1,000 a year on fishing-related expenditures and equipment. So even if we can get that to 10%, that's $1 billion back to the industry. Growth opportunity here, I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but making sure that we're establishing fishing and boating as activities that are open and welcoming to women. And we're doing that through the campaign message of Find Your Best Self on the Water. Making sure we're being representative of everybody to recruit them to the sports. And then from there, making sure we're connecting with people to retain them and make sure that they become reactivated as needed. Again, inspiring women to see themselves. We know that a lot of women come into the sport of fishing, but sometimes either feel excluded or drop out for a variety of reasons. We have the churn research that we're moving towards here, so we have some research that we're looking as to why this is specifically. What we're going to lean into here in year 3 is really community building. People have tried the activity, now they need somebody to go with. So just a few assets here, probably a little bit hard to see in the back, but we have the hero video that we have here on the far left. And then we really leaned into 2 stats through the research. Everything we do, if this has not come across clear yet, is absolutely research-backed. We want to make sure that whatever we're putting out there, that we've done our research. So the stat here in the middle is that fishing has proven to increase confidence and resilience. However, girls stop fishing at an 11% higher rate than boys. Joanne is going to go into a little bit more detail here, but essentially we created an animation about a daughter and a father. They start fishing together when the daughter's young. They grow up, life happens, there's misconnections. That's fine, it happens, nobody's at fault. And then at the end, I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, so I'll let Joanne play it. But essentially, it's really leaning into this opportunity here to get this message out and get this statistic out. And when you watch the video a little bit later, you'll see there's a lot of tension in the animation. That's intentional. We want you to feel the statistic. We don't just want to tell you girls drop out. We want you to feel it, and we want you to actually then do something about it. And that's, I think, just the power of marketing, right? It's not always about products we sell, but it's about the stories that we tell. So we really wanted to tell that story, get that out, and that's what you'll hear here in a little bit. And then the last one we have here is 87% of women who fish have positive self-esteem. We created a couple videos, and again, this is all research-backed. Wanted to talk to a little bit about the numbers, not get into it too much, just showing the power, though, of this campaign so far. Again, we're only 2 years in, just starting our 3rd year here, probably in April. We'll launch a lot of our media. So far, 8.4 billion impressions across earned, paid, and influencer. 3.8 million engagements. We've achieved almost 19 million of additional PSA value. So in addition to the spot that you all saw that we put on paid media, we also have a PSA partner who gives us additional value through PSA placements. And so that 19 million is above about our $5 million paid buy. So we're getting this out, we're getting these activities out to many people to get them interested in the activities. Our video completion rate is pretty staggering, like 92% is kind of crazy, the industry average being 70. So we're really excited to see that, meaning that we've created something that people want to watch till the end. 78% intent to participate remains high for those who are exposed to the campaign. And then we've achieved 95,000 new social media followers. Shout out to Monica here. She has helped us support all of this. And I do want to mention too, I know Dave gave me a shout out in the opening remarks yesterday, but there's a full team behind all of this stuff that we do. It's our team at RBFF. It's our extended team through our agency at Cole McBoy. And a lot of these things that we've been able to achieve in winning like Adweek Media Plan of the Year is really through the support of the leadership, support of our board, to really take those risks. And I know I'm preaching to the choir with you all, and you're like, hey, I want to take risks. I want to make sure that we have leaders that understand that we need to be taking these risks. So thank you for allowing us to take those risks, because clearly it's paid off. And what's great about this award, I feel like, is we won for a total campaign of 5 to 10 million. Our paid media hovers right at 5. So we're kind of competing with people who almost have double the budgets. And we're still getting these activities out to a platform like Adweek, which is pretty fun to see. And yes, the numbers are great, but are people participating? Yes, they are. So we have the highest number on record We will hopefully be we're just starting the reporting now for the 2024 numbers. So that should be out probably later this spring or summer, so look for that. I'm sure Joanne and everyone on the team will send out notifications once we get those numbers, but we're just starting the project here for 2024 numbers. And so for year 3, we're gonna focus a little bit more on community. I think I mentioned that before, but we clearly have huge reach here. We wanna start drilling that down a little bit more to focus on community. All right, I'm gonna pivot a little bit just to some trends. So this is kind of sad to look at, but it's true, it's what we're dealing with, it's what we're managing. This introvert economy is a term that describes a shift in consumer behavior that's occurred since the pandemic. We kind of have a loneliness epidemic that we're dealing with. A lot of people hiding behind screens, a lot of people not able to socially talk to people, make friends. You see here that, and I should say part of the introvert economy too is there's less social outings. People are spending much more time at home, less time going out with friends. Consumers are also going out a little bit earlier in the day. So for example, in New York City, the most popular restaurant reservation time is 5:30 instead of 8 o'clock. It used to be 8 o'clock way back in the day. People are going out right after work, it looks like, and then they want to go home and they want to introvert. As an introvert, I understand this fully, but it sounds like there's a lot more people out there now, and it really is becoming a problem. Like this is a very serious thing that we're trying to deal with here. So amidst all of this, we're kind of waking up our need for community and searching for connection. If you look, it's really small to see probably, but if you look at that orange line, that is the Google Trend data for where to meet people queries. So you can see it's slowly starting to go up. Right at 2020 there for the pandemic, it just shot up afterwards. So people are trying to find connection amid kind of hiding behind screens. And we need community. We need that balance as much as we need our alone time. Supportive connections are so meaningful to our overall well-being. And you can see the quote there, with the group of women out fly fishing. One thing I wanted to mention too is we talk a lot about mental health, we talk a lot about physical health, social health. Right here is something that's very, very important. According to Psychology Today, research shows that positive, satisfying relationships are one of the best predictors of health across the lifespan. So creating those connections, but creating those meaningful connections, not just reaching out to somebody and doing something, but really wanting to get to know them and really just kind of forming that connection. Excuse me. And our own research shows the power of female community. We saw this through our research with Ipsos. Only 5% of active female anglers fish as much as they would like. Huge opportunity there to create that community. 14% don't have anyone to go with. And 40% want a women's fishing club to help them fish more often. So you kind of see where we're going here in year 3 of the campaign. Building memories with others is the #1 motivator to go out and fish among our active female anglers audience. Pivot back a little bit to the Find Your Best Self campaign. Very high level. Again, if there's like appetite for sharing some of these partnerships later on, we're happy to do like a webinar. I only had like a set amount of time here, but I at least did want to get the media plan out here. As part of our campaign, we have a lot of national TV, connected TV and streaming and PSA options. Most everything we do is we have a partnership with Disney. So we get access to a lot of that cluster over there on the left, a lot of their properties that do really well for us. Hulu did so well for us this past year. ESPN, ESPNW, our integrated media partnerships. And this is, I think, what's kind of helped propel us into some of these newer audiences, and is helping us kind of, raise this activity up a little bit, is We had, we had some partnerships here with Vanity Fair. You saw in the case study video with Teen Vogue. A lot of the Condé Nast, brand of, or I should say portfolio brands. Goop, I will talk a little bit about on the next slide. And Evite, just the power of the invitation. We had some Father's Day invitations that went out this past year, and we'll again have that partnership here this year. We have a bunch of social media channels that we manage, PR and media relations, influencer strategy. We have Monica here from the consumer team. If you have any questions on influencers, she is your go-to person for that. Great influencer strategy to really help support a lot of this whole paid campaign. If there's any women's sports fans in the audience, we're dipping our toe here. Actually, we're just gonna jump in because women's sports is super, super, super hot right now. Finally, I'm really excited about that, but we're gonna be taking members of the Orlando Pride women's soccer team out fishing at Disney probably in the next couple months. We have a partnership with the WNBA. I'm actually going there later tonight, and we're gonna go fishing with a couple WNBA players. And you just think about the synergy of the confidence, the grit, the self-esteem, the community, the competition. There's just so much crossover there that it makes sense to really lean into that area. And I talked about influencers and then paid search. So we have kind of a full campaign here that we run every year. A lot of the paid campaign will run for us from April through September. But we do have a few of these components that run the entire year, just to make sure we're always on and we're always ready if people are searching for activities. So Goop, what is Goop? I didn't want to dive into everything here, but I felt like Goop was a little bit worth going into detail. It is an e-gaming platform and specifically focused on healthy fun, cognitive training, competition, education, and mental health. Yes, we have our Find Your Best Self campaign focused on women. We also know the value of getting youth and teens and their parents interested in the activities. If you don't get somebody interested in fishing before the age of 12, they don't have as high of a chance to fish as an adult. So we know the value here. We know that also this is through a screen and not on an actual body of water, but let's take the first step here and get them interested and then keep giving them the information and tools they need to go out on the water. So Goop is in 14,000 schools across the country. They are in every single state. There are people in your state playing a fishing game that I'll show you in a second, and also interacting with this webpage that you see here. In your state, they are getting interested in fishing and boating. As they are getting interested, they're probably going to come to your websites to find more information. 19 million active users right now. This is going to keep expanding, and 80% are between in the teenage years. So that's the big, I think, age group where people are, trying to find things to do, dropping out, where we really want to keep them and retain them. So this past year, we had a partnership with Goop where we sponsored the mental health landing page. So what that entails is kids will open the app, they'll come to the mental health landing page. They'll see a bunch of emojis and figure out how am I feeling that day. That information is sent to the teacher, so the teacher knows, okay, maybe I have half my class who's just a little uneasy today, half my class is happy. That helps them, with their lesson planning and with their engagement. So we sponsored that, especially with a lot of the insights that we got from our research. And you'll see here, we have these little cards at the bottom, the happiness, the grit, the patience. You actually have to flip those to build your little avatar girl there, or guy, or whoever you want. As you flip those and as you learn more about our campaign, you build the avatar in terms of the clothing. So it's in the students' best interest to interact and engage and have what they need here. We have our Second Catch logo with the animation that Joanne will go through in a little bit. We have the statistic that people are dropping out, and we also have the video that they can play there. And then finally, we have the invite to go fishing, and that's sent to the Evite platform, so they would then go be able to send an invite to somebody to go fishing. We only did this for 2 months last year, and we had 42 million impressions, which is pretty great. We're expanding it this next year to 4 months, and we're also adding the addition of a custom fishing and boating game. Here's a screenshot of the game. Essentially, people pick their boat, they pick their angler. All anglers have the life jacket on, as you see. They go around the body of water, and I think they have about 6 or so stations where they have to catch fish, and it's a timed thing. We just launched this in January. It's a year-long activation. We have it going from January till December. 1 million students played our game the opening weekend. We're up to 9 million in 1 month that have played this game. Excuse me. And 116 million minutes have been played. Now, I know there's a lot of discussion of like, okay, well, they're behind a screen, they're not on the water. Totally understand. We got this, the group CEO did receive an email that from at least one person, this game inspired our son to ask us to go fishing together as a family. So they're planning a trip this coming weekend. So this is what we want to see. You know, if it's 1 in 9 million, like maybe that's not the best, but like hopefully these emails keep coming. And it keeps reminding people, maybe some of these kids fished when they were younger, and it's that memory recollection and getting back on the water. So just launched this, you know, probably about a month ago. Excited to keep you all posted on the progress, but just know kids in your state are playing this, and they're probably looking for more information on each of your digital assets and websites. Okay, I'm kind of going all over the place because there's a lot to share here. Brittany, the keynote, probably wouldn't like my funnel because it doesn't have apathy in it, but I know we have this, we had the fish ladder, we had the actual ladder. We know, we do this broad awareness campaign, and we know it just doesn't end there. We can't just say you should go fishing and boating because we just tell you you should do that. We realize that we have to make sense to people, and we have to make sure that when they are experiencing things, they're seeing people like them, and they're enjoying it, and then they're wanting to tell people about it. And you know, Brittany said it really well, so I won't go into all that detail, but we essentially want to create these advocates that are selling the activities for us. Because we know, and even in Brittany's poll, you could see, what do you love most about fishing and boating? We got every answer you could probably think of. Some people like the competition, some people like the big fish, some people like spending time with family. It's unique and it's different for everybody. So as we move here into the 3rd year of our campaign, we really want to focus on the word "your" in this statement because it's going to be unique to everybody, and there is no right and there is no wrong. So we kind of want to show you the full spectrum of a fishing experience. And with that said, I want to just describe a couple of things here that we did, and then I'm going to ask my colleague JD to join me on stage. So we did a little bit of field research, and when I say research, it's very much in loose quotes, but we wanted to collect some qualitative data on the different types of unique experiences that women might experience when they're trying to go out fishing or trying to book a fishing excursion. So research, again, definitely here in quotes, because we asked 2 women, we gave them the challenge of plan a fishing trip with friends. That's all we said. Whatever they wanted to do in terms of, did they need a guide? Did they feel like they could do it themselves? Where did they go to collect their information? Let's see, what else we have here? What was the experience like? What insights could they glean from their friends? What kind of questions were their friends asking them who may or may never have experienced this activity? So we have a little kind of playful back and forth we're going to do here to show you the spectrum of what we're looking at with somebody who is participating in the activity. Just know this is not a battle of the sexes at all. This is a full spectrum of what anybody could achieve in trying to look for an experience. Do you want to mention anything else?
No, I think you said it. It's, you know, we'll do a little role play here about how some of these women that were charged with planning a fishing trip went versus how every fishing trip for the past 50 plus years of my life has gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So we're looking at planning, and again, the challenge that these two women, completely separate too, they were not talking to one another, they were just set forth in their journeys to plan a trip. So I am, just to be clear, I'm gonna play how each of these women, what you see here essentially is actual data. We didn't make anything up. This is what they received, and this was all part of their trip planning experience. So for planning, I was not comfortable having a male fishing guide. I wanted a female fishing guide. So I went online and I searched for a female fishing guide. It took me over 10 hours, and I did not find a female fishing guide in my state. This is true. JD, on the other hand.
Yeah, well, it took me, I mean, not that I need a guide all the time, right? But in this case, looking for a guide that I was comfortable with took me about 10 minutes.
Our group sent over 500 texts and phone calls, and this was the extent of the words in the text. Charcuterie boards. Wardrobe, what are you going to wear? Are you wearing your swimsuit underneath, or are you just going to bring it? Where are we going for lunch? Who's driving? Can I ride with you? What is the bathroom situation? So all of this came into the entire trip planning and prep. For JD?
Yeah, that's crazy. We don't really need any phone calls. 5 texts did it. Fishing, lake, date time, boom, let's go.
Women conversation. You see a pie chart up here. There's a lot of different colors. You can only imagine probably what was discussed. So we will just go ahead and add it to the slide here. Childhood trauma, dating misadventures. What happened with your mom after? You are the fish queen. Oh my God, look at the way the sun is lighting up those clouds. I've missed you. There's a lot that was discussed while on this fishing trip. And I definitely need to try ayahuasca. That's an interesting one. I was not part of this research, so I cannot comment on that one. For JD.
Yeah, it's fishing, sports, beer, snacks, more beer. And probably because Gladiator 2 just came out, we talked a little bit about the Roman Empire, but yeah, that's it.
All right, for beverages and snacks. Again, making sure we have everything with us so we don't have to go anywhere, but who is bringing all the beverages, who is bringing potentially items that go in the beverages, who's bringing the gummy bears, what items are we having for salads, definitely charcuterie boards. For JD.
Well, it would have been great to have all that stuff on the boat. We just stopped at the quick shop on the way to the lake and picked up, a cube of Coors Light and some beef jerky. That's all you need.
All right, for music, definitely had to have a playlist going. Probably one of the questions in the prep is who's making the playlist, to be honest. These are all the artists that we listen to, and as you can see, there are many. Probably so many more that we couldn't fit it on the slide. And for JD?
No music. Don't want to spook the fish.
Okay, so for activities, there's a lot we did. And if the slide we showed kind of to preface this whole section is there's a lot. There's selfies, there's jumping in the water, there's floating around in case the fish aren't biting. There's definitely a photo of all the charcuterie because we have to remember this moment. There's sunbathing, there's probably reading. There's definitely listening to music. And then in kind of that top left corner, there's let's all work together to find the best colors for the bobber and the hook and making sure that everything matches. That is true. I heard it right from the person who was on this trip, so that was definitely happening in that photo. For JD?
We're here to fish. Let's fish. Who got the biggest fish, the most fish, the first fish? Maybe there's a little wager on it, but it's all about the fishing.
All right, tackle.
The tackle, though, man, you got to have this fireball jig. It has this short shank, wide gap hook, allows you to hook the minnow's mouth and out the back of the minnow's head, and it makes the presentation appear smaller. With that wide gap hook, your hooking percentage will increase by 35%. And this particular glow watermelon is great because it combines the natural appeal of a watermelon color, which often imitates bait fish in many water conditions, with the added visibility and attraction of a glow-in-the-dark element, making it effective in low-light situations, murky water, particularly when targeting fish that rely on sight to find food. This jig also is the #1 all-time money-winning jig on the pro walleye tour circuit.
Well, that is a lot. That's a mouthful. I just wanted to make sure it matched what I was wearing and matched my fingernails. Okay, so thank you for allowing us a little bit of time just to show you that discrepancy. Again, that's the spectrum, right? We're kind of working from here, we're working from here. A lot of us are going to fall right in the middle. Some of us might be way at JD's end. Some might be over here on the new angler end. A lot of the money in terms of the industry, that's who we're focusing on. And I think it's clear now, but there's a huge opportunity for beginner overall. We have it more in the female quadrant here, but it's just beginner in general. So we wanted to talk a little bit about each of the trips. And this is Katie, and Katie's actually here with us today. Katie is from our creative ad agency. She had not been fishing, I don't think, ever. Something we wanted to mention here, though, is 4 licenses were bought. So there were 3 new fishing licenses that were purchased. 1 already had their license. 2 reactivated anglers. So if we take the $1,000 per angler spend, just on 1 fishing trip, we're already adding another $2,000 at least. But here's what happened after this trip. This is interesting. One of these anglers is even more engaged and interested in going with friends and family. She has gone fishing 10 times since this trip, and they bought an ice fishing rod for her and her daughter. So now she's passing it on. Another one of these women in the photo, one was reminded of the fun and passion that they had when they first started fishing, and they hadn't fished since. She's gone fishing 2 times since, and she's bought some bait and it looks like a basic rod and reel tackle setup equipment. One loved the trip, hates fishing, but wants to do it again for the quality time. And I think we know that. We all understand that there's different parts of the activities. They still consider this a fishing trip. Even though they're going for quality time, they would still go buy their license and still participate. The second trip. This is Allie here in the New York Yankees hat. She went with her, I believe, her sisters and a few friends. 3 new anglers, 2 reactivated. 1 who reclaimed old gear has been urban fishing in Minneapolis 3 times since this trip. It's been 20 years since she last fished. She now considers herself a regular. She'll try ice fishing for the first time this winter. Maybe has already tried it. In Minnesota, y'all have long winters, I know that, so maybe she's already tried it. Another one of the women in this photo has invested in gear for herself and her 3-year-old son. So we're adding another person now to the activity. Her and her son have been out 2 times since this trip. And then finally, I mean, this is similar to the other trip, but one loved the trip, hates fishing, but loved the vibes. So it's probably gonna go again just to be on the boat. They did not hire a guide for this trip. They ended up having, I think, a boat at a cabin, and they all just went out together. They caught 1 fish, as you can see, still had a lot of fun, and still considered this a fishing and boating trip. So it kind of goes back to the whole slide I had here a second ago, making sure that we're being intentional about people finding their best selves. And we should not be the ones who define that. It shouldn't, the first question that comes up when you come back from a fishing trip should not be, how many fish did you catch? I know that's a staple for a lot of us, but just understand there's a full spectrum here that we're working with. With that, Joanne.
No, it's fine. Thank you, Rachel, and thank you, JD. I will take a little bit of time kind of going back to some of the stuff Rachel was talking about in the beginning of her presentation around second catch. As she had mentioned, it is based on research. This is the video that we had as the 2nd year of the Find Your Best Self campaign, and we launched it last year to coincide with Father's Day. But we based the video on the research that women who fish have greater perseverance and self-esteem. They have more patience and confidence. And women and girls can boost their mental and emotional well-being by fishing and being out on the water. And as Rachel mentioned as well, unfortunately, we do have that problem that girls stop fishing at an 11% higher rate than boys. So we use this campaign to try to increase the awareness around this statistic and drive conversation around one of the busiest days of the year for fishing on Father's Day. So we wanted to show that fathers, father figures, any parental figure can really help change this statistic. So we came up with Second Catch. Now last year, we allowed everybody to co-brand this video and post it online, share it on your media outlets, on your social media outlets, which we're gonna do again, but I wanted to play this video for you. I'm sure all of you have seen it, but in case you've not, little warning, it can be a bit of a tearjerker. It pulls at the heartstrings. Sorry, I've watched it so many times and I still get a little choked up by it. But as you can see, this we co-branded with Kentucky's logo. So they were able to use it on all their channels as if it was their video. So we are allowing the use of this again this year, trying to get it out to you now so you can take advantage of Father's Day. You can co-brand it, you can post it on your website, you can put it on your social media, you can email out about it. We will co-brand it for you on your behalf. We just need to get your logo. You can email your logo to Kayla Hornbrook and she will get it co-branded for you and send you back the assets for it. This QR code will take you to our little resource hub for Second Catch. We do ask that you put in your email address before you get to all of the information so that we can provide you more information, assistance as you need. So I will be sending out more information about this after the workshop as well. In addition to asking state agencies to share this, we are also working with some of our industry partners as well. We've had last year St. Croix, Daiwa, Freedom Boat Club, Yamaha all co-branded this as well. So we're trying to get some of the big brands out there to take part in this. So as Rachel mentioned earlier and Brittany mentioned yesterday, we really worked to really capitalize on the storytelling, the power of storytelling. We received massive positive feedback on this. on this ad from both men and women. It really is heartwarming. It evokes emotion. It is eye-catching. It resonated with men and women, fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters. You can use this video along Father's Day as well as the Evites that Rachel mentioned with group, that you can take part in that and send out Evites to invite somebody, invite your father, invite a grandfather or father figure to go fishing for Father's Day as well. We will be promoting this video in May and June, so it's a great time for you all to utilize as well to capitalize on the national media we will put behind it. It got picked up by a lot of media outlets last year. This is just a few of them, but just wanted to show that people notice it, they're seeing it, and they're picking it up and sharing it on what we're doing and what you all are doing. I mentioned working with our industry partners as well. These are a few of the industry outlets that have picked it up. So again, this year we're gonna work to get more industry involved as well. So we as state agencies, our industry stakeholders, together, we can try to work on creating more awareness around that statistic and changing it. So here's just some of the feedback we received last year. On the left is the CEO of Group, who Rachel mentioned earlier. He took his daughters out fishing after seeing the second catch video. And on the right is an email that the CEO of Evite sent to Group saying that it inspired him to take his daughters fishing as well. So these are just a few people who have a big reach, seeing that it inspired them to take their kids fishing. A mother on Group, one of her kids was going through the process, as Rachel mentioned, and she said that seeing the information on Group that her daughters were seeing, it encouraged her to get their father to take them out fishing. She said if it wouldn't be for them, for the message, she wouldn't have reminded them to take them out this weekend. Just a few more feedbacks we've received on social media. We have people say it hits close to home. Reese, if she's in the audience, she said it gets you right in the feels. And then somebody said it's the curly hair representation that makes me smile. So we did have some states use this last year. They posted it on social media. Iowa emailed out about it around Father's Day. So these are just some examples that you all can do as well. We did hear last year that some of the animation wasn't quite everybody's branding. And I kind of wanted to mention that because it's not really Take Me Fishing's branding either. As you saw from the first video, the second video, the second catch, the animated version, differs quite a lot from it. But it is that power of storytelling that really gets everybody's attention. And with your logo on it as well, it'll definitely show it's part of your work, part of what you're doing at the same time. I mentioned Yamaha has used it. It's not really part of their branding either, but they found it important enough to share as well. St. Croix is actually working to create some videos of their own along the second catch message. They're getting some of their employees to take their kids out fishing to showcase the 11% statistic and what they're trying to do to combat that. So to help some states get the messaging out there, we are going to give $1,000 to 5 different states to boost the co-branded video. So between March 17th and March 25th, you can email me letting me know you're interested in this contest. We have a few questions we want you to answer, nothing major, not a big application, but basically, when do you plan to use it? How and where do you plan to use it? What metrics could you give us to show the success of the sharing? So I'll send out more information about this to all of you. We'll send it to the marketing listserv I mentioned, and we will also send it to all of our state contacts so that people who aren't here, some states that aren't here, can be a part of this as well. On March 26th, I will take randomly pick 5 states that apply or send me an email, and I will let them know, and those who don't know as well, on the 26th, whether or not they get the $1,000 to put towards boosting this video. Now, in addition to Second Catch, piggybacking on a little bit of what Rachel said, is there's also a lot more we can all do as a group to encourage more women to go fishing. In addition to Second Catch, we can all show more women represented in our marketing and all of our communications. We can amplify the research findings. The research Rachel and I have talked about today, we have more assets around that. We can give those to you to share out about the research as well. And we've talked a lot about community. You can host events, bring people together. I believe it was either Teresa from DC or Letha from Maryland yesterday was saying how from one of their events, a group has now pretty much created their own little group from the people who attended an event. They're now bringing more women to fish, teaching them, and now those women are teaching others to fish as well. So it can happen very organically, but you need to get them together and encourage that community as well. And also, as Rachel mentioned, female fishing guides. If you partner with any female fishing guides in your state, share a story about them. Let them tell their story. Get them out there. Have them come to some of the women-focused groups you have. And also, I mean, it kind of goes through the whole spectrum. Hire more people on your staff that looks like the people you're trying to reach as well. I think it was mentioned yesterday, law enforcement, people out there in law enforcement might not look like the people they're ticketing or the people they're working with. So try to get internally more people that represent your community as well. So that is all I have. I'll bring Rachel back up for any questions you might have. Thank you. Do we have any questions? Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be around. Thanks, guys. Oh, all right. Sorry, one over there.
Hey, great prezzo. You talked about most female anglers on record. I think the number was 21 million. How did you measure that? And do you see like the engagement rate numbers, like percentages increase?
From the special report on fishing, the 21 million.
Yeah. So we've had a partnership with. Do I need to talk into here probably to record it? Yeah. Okay. We've had a partnership with the Outdoor Foundation for probably 10 plus years in terms of measuring participation stats. So they send out a survey each year, and that's how that information is collected. And that's very similar to the slide before that was just on overall participants. So. And it's ages 6 and up is how we measure that. Knowing, yes, that when you're between 6 and 17, you don't need a license. So, but we still have the amount of people participating in the activities.
And as Rachel said, we do it annually, so we will be doing it again this year. So we will have numbers for 2024 probably in July or so.
And the Outdoor Foundation, if you're not familiar, does a lot of outdoor rec participation studies. So they'll do like kayakers, mountain biking, just almost anything you can think of. They kind of have the reputation for being like the tool and the measurer for gauging participation for a lot of outdoor activities.
And there was actually a second part of that question that I would love to address really quick. We have seen the numbers going up over the years, but also as a percentage of participants. I can't remember exactly what year, but going back, way back, maybe 15 years, women made up about 25% of participants. Today, it's 37%. So it is gradually increasing as a percentage and a number, which we're very encouraged to see. That's it. Any other questions?
Okay, one back there.
Thanks. Has there been any research in developing more female guides? Because that statistic really surprised me.
Yeah, we kind of just found that out when we did this mini
Yeah.
research study. Definitely an opportunity, maybe not a career change for me, but something I'm like, that's an opportunity to be a female fishing guide. It's definitely something that's like in my notepad that I want to look into a little bit more. I don't want to call the state out because I think it's probably a problem, not a problem, but something that's a little bit more widespread as well. But there were a couple guides that were found. They were either booked up or essentially not available to help with this study. But yeah, that's definitely something that I earmarked to look into a little bit more.
Yeah, I know that there's the Federation of Fly Fishers and stuff does trainings for guides, and they have testing, you know, you have to cast a certain amount. And so I'm wondering if there's not very many opportunities for developing guides, but I should talk to you because I do know some guides that are females, but they're in this area, DMV area. I don't know if nationwide though.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Let's connect for sure.
Who do I get?
So y'all talking about not being able to find women fishing guides got me thinking, you know, as a state agency, we're not allowed to promote commercial licenses. Would there be potential to start creating a list per state on RBFF's website where somebody could find, you know, if I'm a female fishing guide, I can apply to be put on that, you know, registry so people in my state can find, you know, female fishing guides. But as state agencies, we can't do that. But if y'all, we could circumvent that by going through y'all's website.
Yeah, something we've been thinking about here as we move into year 2 and year 3 of this campaign is definitely drilling down to that community aspect and having something like that, but also some of the female fishing groups so that when people come to the site, they're like, okay, here's my community. It might be a little bit 2-hour drive or so, but at least meeting like-minded people, developing those connections and relationships. So yes, that in addition to some of these groups is definitely something we'll get in a directory on our site here in the next few months, maybe years, we'll see, but it's definitely a priority.
Awesome.
And that actually is something we'll probably look to ask you all to help us with, to let us know the women groups and if you know of women guides in your state so that we can put that information out there. Anyone else? All right, thank you. Thank you. Thanks. All right, thank you. Dave mentioned yesterday that we are working with Minnesota to do a co-branded campaign. We actually did a little bit of a test campaign this past year, so we're gonna have Kara Hansen come up shortly to talk about that. But before she does, I want to bring up Samantha Petter. She is the Vice President of Outdoor Marketing with Paid Outdoors to talk about their organization a bit. Thank you.